we are interested in is understanding where people come from so that we can actually even appreciate those who are different from us and appreciate where they're coming from, even if it doesn't seem to work for us.
That's a good sock with a good shoe. Let's move on.
And the only way that we can have conversations that allow the passion that we want is through values. What kind of values? I'll tell you. How about civility, compassion, respect, empathy? So if you enjoy the kind of music I'm playing, which combines and balances the idea of thoughtful notes, mindful execution, and passion, I think you're at the right place.
I'm Michelle Salzman. I represent House District 1, which is the north end of Escambia County. And interesting enough, a lot of the work we do is for, a majority of the work we do is for all of Florida. It's not for your district per se. Now, when you have individual cases of issues of a constituents, that's when we reach out to one another. If it, like, for instance, you have an issue, I'll call Alex. I just was with him a few minutes ago, and I'll say, hey, we got this problem. We need your help. And that's that partnership that we have. But it's funny because it's been so long since we put this on the calendar, I couldn't even remember what the priorities were of this community. And I was making jokes with Chris on the way because he was also at Alex's event with me. And I said, I don't know what I'm going into. I don't remember what I was supposed to talk about. He said, Michelle, they got flooding issues. I got your back. So I just want to say, when we talk about, I assume that we're trying to get some really good response and activity for some flooding concerns. Chris is an incredible asset for you. He is an asset for me. When we have flooding issues in District 1, one of the first people that we reach out to is him, because that's all he does. He lives and breathes flooding and wastewater management. And so I can call on my politicians, which I'm a politician too, and they're great people. I have an excellent relationship with all 4 county commissioners. And that was a joke. You're welcome. And all the other elected officials. I ran off of the premise. I call myself the people's conservative because I want to represent all the people in the community and not focus on divisive issues, but really focus on the things that matter to everyday citizens, like safety and infrastructure and education. And that's really what I've done. But when you do that, you do build those bonds with the other elected officials, because the county commissioners and the ECUA representatives and the mayors, we have several, and the city council members, they focus, their main job is safety and infrastructure, and education not so much. But I've had 2 meetings with the superintendent and deputy superintendent in the past week alone. I stay very honed in on that, because education is the cornerstone of our future of economic development. It's not a punchline. It's not sexy. I remember when I filed to run for office, I said, I'm going to run against somebody. And everybody said, you'll never win. But wait, what's your platform? I was like, safety and infrastructure and education. They said, you'll never win with that. And I said, well, I don't understand. They're like, that's not guns and babies. I said, well, we need to focus on the other things for a while. So I'm grateful that I got the opportunity to serve, and certainly grateful to be able to get so much done, especially in areas that don't get the representation. I've seen some articles where Some folks have piecemealed things that I've said together so it sounded like I was saying something else. But the fact of the matter is, I spend more time helping those that don't vote for me than those that do. And that's including the town of Century and the North End and the Wedgwood community, the communities that need the septic to sewer conversion, the wastewater management issues, the sidewalk concerns, because walkability is near and dear to my heart. And I spend a lot of time on that. And just recently, we were able to get $3.25 million for Century to get 2 community centers. You know, I mean, hello, how exciting is that for a community that is so stuck? You know, they don't drive a lot. Most people, they have to walk where they're going. And so where do you take your children? So the community centers was a huge win. Another thing that we did was a lot of, we're doing septic to sewer, water meter, wastewater management. We got a lot. I think we got $4 million last year for that. And we have a couple of million waiting on the governor to sign now. And is it sexy? No. You know, is it where my voters are? Absolutely not. We had 90 votes, I think, out of those top 5 or 6 precincts in the north end of the county. But I told them, I promised them when I went out there, I said, I'm not running to represent the loud ones. I'm running to represent all of the ones, and that includes you, and I promise I'll try to bring money back. And so I did that. And I think that's probably what leads me here with you today is hearing your concerns about flooding. I've got a piece of paper and a pen here so I can take notes, and Debbie, my staff, who really runs the office, is here. She can also take notes. And I have Chris here, who is going to probably give me more answers than I'll be able to give you myself. He's really a true leader in this. So I would say, before we take questions, if you have a major concern and you're really wanting your community, and by the way, Craig is amazing. I serve on Crime Stoppers with him. He's just so calculating and calm and knowledgeable and really just wants to do what's right. So he's an incredible asset for you. But when you're trying to organize as a community to get something done, the first thing you do is get organized. The second thing you need to do is get a unified message that's actionable. And once you get that, you got to find the right people that can share that message, the right partners in this. When we were doing things for Wedgwood, for instance, because it's been something that's so talked about for many years and nothing really was getting done, the first thing we did was we talked to the neighborhood watch folks, we talked to the neighborhood committees, and then we talked to the county commissioners, and then we talked to some of the developers that put that crap for, I was going to say the other word, but who put that crap, I love you, oh my God, who put that crap in that community, all 5, I believe, of those dump sites. So, and then when I heard everybody saying the same thing over and over again, I said, that's it, fine. You want to play that game? Not a problem. And Chris was actually somebody we spoke to. He's always somebody you talk to when you're talking about flooding or wastewater. And the next thing I did, I said, you know what, forget it. I'm calling DEP myself. You know, I called the DEP secretary. I had meetings with him. Who else did we call? The Northwest Florida Water Management Services. I called every agency known to man, and I made them all get in the same room and talk. Like, everybody wanted to say how they wanted to do something. And you know what we learned? Fun fact. We didn't have a plan. Everybody knew we needed to do it. Everybody had all these studies, but we didn't have a plan. Well, how do you get a plan? Well, the county does that. Okay, not a problem. Now the county's working on that plan. They just installed some sidewalks. The Commissioner May is a phenomenal advocate, but he has to have a team behind him. He can't do it alone. You know, and that's kind of like you guys, you know, you've got some stuff you want to work on, but if you don't have a team behind you, you're not going to get it done. So you definitely need that team of folks. And I would say I didn't know Kevin Brown was coming tonight, but Kevin has been a rock for me. When I ran for office, he helped me. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but he did. And then when I got there, that was the big help. because I didn't know where the bathroom was. Guys, I mean, I've never been in politics, and now I'm in Tallahassee, and we have 2,000 bills filed in the Florida House, not including all the appropriations projects, and I didn't know which way was up. I would call Kevin all the time, and you know what? One of the biggest reasons why Century got that first $3 million is right there, Kevin Brown, and I'm not making this up. As sure as I'm standing here, and yes, an incredible guy. He understands how to navigate the system, how to fix the issues that are wrong, because he's been working on it for years. And with Senator Broxson, no matter how you feel about him, the man is incredibly effective. He gets it done. He brings so much money and projects back to this community, and you will not find a better fighter for the military than Doug Broxson. So I would say if you're looking for some good knowledge, I certainly would lean on Kevin. No matter if he gets elected or not, the man knows this. He knows the process, and he understands the partnerships that need to take place. When we got that funding for Century, as we're working through the issues with Wedgwood, because we're almost there, we're getting there, one of the things that we learned rather quickly was everybody has to be on the same page, which was why I put everybody in the same room, and that took like 3 months to get that meeting. That's no lie. But getting everybody in the same room is valuable, but getting everybody in the same room that really want to work together is invaluable, and that's something that Kevin can do for you. He still does it for me. I still call him and ask him questions. We got the Blue Angels motorcycle license plate, and I know a lot of you haven't heard about it yet because we haven't done big press release or anything, but we passed the Blue Angels license plate. Y'all like Blue Angels? Clap. Come on. They got the Blue Angels license plate passed a couple of years ago, and then they said, we want a motorcycle plate. And I was like, okay, sure, I'll do that. I had no idea what that meant. And guys, y'all really don't want to know. It was horrible. But we got it passed, and we didn't get it passed with just Michelle. Kevin wasn't even in the Senate anymore. Kevin was a citizen of Pensacola, Florida, who understood how to navigate DOT and, the House and the Senate and the Commission and the Blue Angels Foundation organization and the Navy base and the tax collector's office, all of these different agencies that have to put a blessing on something like this. He's navigating it for me. I just show up and I look pretty and I smile and I wave, and then everybody says, oh, Michelle, you did great. But really it's people like Kevin that get it done. So I know that I didn't know he was coming. I know y'all didn't come to hear about Kevin, but he's in the room, and y'all are going to be asking me questions, and I might say, Kevin, what's the answer? And I want y'all to understand why I would say that, because he has been a huge supporter of mine. And I have probably 20 to 30 people like Kevin on my team, just people in the community that really understand processes of some kind. Chris is one of those. He understands flooding. So when you have people like that, there's no chance for you to fail. You just listen to those that understand it best, and then you kind of follow through. I am the first woman elected in House District 1. That is true. It was actually, I didn't even realize we hadn't had a woman in office up there until I started knocking doors. So it was kind of neat. I mean, I didn't get there because I'm a woman, but it's kind of cool to represent. So I appreciate you mentioning that. And I've talked enough. What I'd like to do now, if y'all don't mind, is y'all ask me questions. And that's very kind of you to say, don't know I got yous, but the world is yours. You can ask me just about anything you want. And if I don't have the answer, I'll find it. And if I'm not comfortable answering it, then I just won't answer the question. But I'm my life, myself. I mean, my Facebook is public. Everything I do is an open book. So I'm certainly welcome any questions that the community has. Can you tell me your name?
I'm Keith Bowe.
Keith, and what's your question, Keith?
What I'd like is to have Chris come up and introduce himself.
Yes.
And I'd like to hear exactly how he's addressing the. We have a project going on here with drainage, but it's not fixing the flooding.
Okay.
And I'd like to hear a little bit.
I think that's smart, because I can, as a politician, I can talk at you all day. But Chris, I would love that. And here's the thing. What Chris says we need to do, what you guys want to do, you take that, you go to the next step, which would be a county commissioner. It doesn't have to be yours. If it's me, I'm not going to go see the 5th because he's not really there. And then also DOT could be a partner, Department of DOE. I mean, there's a lot of agencies that might need to partner, but we'll hear his ideas, and certainly y'all ask questions. I'll sit right here, and together we can talk through this. But I'm happy to facilitate any meetings or any funding or anything that you guys need. I can certainly also get your state representative here, Alex Andrade. I'm sure I can get Alex to come and visit too and have these conversations. Yes, absolutely. We can get anybody here you need here. I'm certain of it. Sure as I'm standing here. And if they won't, I'll shame them in public, and then they'll show up anyway. So, Chris, come on up. Y'all give him a round of applause.
Thank you, Michelle. All right. I'm Chris Kerb, for those who don't know me. I worked for Escambia County for 25 years. Last 7 years, I was the best word to put it is a stormwater guru. Why hadn't the county done a project out here? Anybody know? It's all about money.
Because they don't have a plan.
They don't have a plan. It's plan and investment.
I only know that because he told me an hour ago.
Well, they do have somewhat of a plan. DeSantis signed in $403 million worth of grant funding for the state of Florida for different municipalities. $403 million recently. Well, that's a lot of money when Miami-Dade County gets $150 million for all their municipalities in that area. That's 25% of it. You know why they got the money down there? They have a plan, and they invest in their staff, and they invest in their resources, and they have shovel-ready projects sitting on the shelf and go, let's go get this grant.
Can you say that again? What'd you call that?
Shovel-ready projects.
No, just remember that.
All right. So, guess how much the Panhandle got? 9%. Well, it's not Michelle's fault. It's not Alex's fault. It's because your municipalities got to invest in their resources. They got to make flooding a priority. I preach that every time I go to the Board of County Commissioners. I do the whole Panhandle. I'm really hadn't made it to Okaloosa County, but that's my next stop. But go to Santa Rosa County, City of Pensacola. So what do? I mean, I don't work for the county anymore, and this guy called me up. His name's Jay Faison. He's the chairman of the American Flood Coalition, and he said, I founded this organization in the Panhandle called Flood Defenders. We're an advocacy group, nonprofit, nonpartisan advocacy group. We help people find their voice in front of the board, but it's all about you. My cup right here, I'm going to show it to you real quick. Our Constitution starts out, we the people, in order to perform a more perfect union. My cup says, we the people, not me the people. It's about we. One person going down there to the Board of County Commissioners or City Council, or one person, that's just one guy up there. If I go down there by myself and I say, hey, these people need a project. We know you got a plan. These people need a project. If I'm doing it by myself, oh, you're just a disgruntled employee that we fired you because you had a brain and a mouth. Well, yeah, I did get fired because I had a brain and a mouth. Sometimes people don't like to hear the truth. And I speak the truth. Just like Michelle says, she speaks the truth. And that's what it's all about in your elected officials is if they tell you they're going to do something, they need to do it. And if they don't, well, you don't reelect them. And you go down there and tell them, hey, you told me you was going to do this. To go further into, the county does have a plan. It's a very old plan. The Community Redevelopment Agency, Bainbridge is the dividing line between the Warrenton Community Redevelopment Agency. And what they did in 2003, I believe it was, they did a master wastewater and stormwater plan for the whole Beach Haven area. Bainbridge is included in it. I know you didn't get included. I'm talking about a plan. Okay. The plan was divided into 12 sections, and Beach Haven Northeast is the first 3 phases of that. That got built in 2 phases. The first phase was $10 million. I believe the second phase is $16 million. It wasn't that much in 2003. I think it was about, I want to say it was around 16 million. Well, it cost 26 million because the more you delay, the more you pay, inflation. The county's got a plan that they came up with after April 2014. It's the Stormwater Advisory Team came up with it. They said, y'all need a plan. What are all your drainage needs? I spent about 2 weeks with, actually it was about a month with Baskerville Donovan going through all our basin studies, and we came up with a drainage needs assessment. That was 228 projects for 417 million. It's now 650 million, and they're only putting $4 million a year into drainage. Well, you got to tell the guys that if flooding is the #1 problem, let's make it the #1 priority. This area started out with a plan, but it never got funded. The plans changed too. I mean, there might be stormwater ponds that they need to put in this area. I've actually got a copy of it. It's a real basic printout. It was $6 million for this area. That was in 2003. It's probably about 12 million now to put sanitary sewer and stormwater in this area. The nice thing about it is ECUA is working in the Navy Point Unit 4 area. They're looking at putting a lift station over there, and they're going to be connecting up to give this Beach Haven Northeast over here an outfall for their sanitary sewer. Both of those projects over there were funded with 5 different funding sources. Right now, there's flood resilience money that DEP has. There's $100 million a year for the next 5 years. You combine that with DEP 319 grants, if there's any restore, I'm sure there's restore money left. You divide that with restore money, you just got to get your elected officials to come up with a starter plan. They got to put some teeth into the game.
I'm jumping in with you here real quick. So basically what he's saying is, and he's correct, DEP has plenty of money.
Mm-hmm.
The question isn't finding the money. The question is getting to the money. And you can't get to the money with one person showing up angry. You can't get to the money showing up unorganized. And although he didn't say it, you can't get to the money by being mean.
Right.
We have to make friends in this process so that they'll invite us to the table. So I'm not suggesting, and neither is Chris, that you go be angry for what has or hasn't happened. We need to accept what's happened and find a way to move forward with actionable steps. So the plan is important. How do you get a plan? You got to get the county. The county has to do the plan. The county has to do it. I've had organizations come to me with plans for flood resiliency or septic to sewer conversion, and they are shot down because they are not the government. I know that sounds horrible. Trust me, I didn't agree with it either, but it's the way it goes.
It sure is.
So if you want a plan, you have to get the county or start with ECUA, or the ECUA can start that plan because it's wastewater management. So you have to get the government to start the plan. You do that through partnerships and meetings. And I know meetings are a pain, but that's most of my days. Meetings are important, building those relationships and having the information in front of you to where you can be successful in moving towards the next step. So what you need to do is to get a plan. To get the plan, you need to get the meetings with the right people on the table. Kevin, do you have any, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but do you have any input on this at all? I mean, true story. He really does know how to get this done. And isn't this your district? Would this be your district? Okay. Would you mind helping? Because I hope y'all don't mind, but
I want to resound something you just said.
yes, go ahead. I'm gonna hand it to you.
She's absolutely right. If you go to the board and bang your hand on the table going, why ain't you done nothing, why ain't you done nothing? It's not going to happen. Alex told me when I first started with Flood Defender, he said, look, number one rule of Advocacy 101 is you don't bite the hand that feeds you. You don't go call the guy that you're asking to help you bad names.
That is what Alex would say. Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
One question real quick, okay? Asking, okay, when you guys did the plan back in 2004, whenever you.
2003, yeah.
Okay. Did they have the money for it, to do it at that time?
No, they had the money to come up with a plan.
Okay.
And,
Dropped it from there.
well, like I said, the northeast phase was the most critical area that's on the other side of Fairfield.
I'll just stand here.
It's been through 5 different funding sources have funded both phases of that project over there. It's actually 3 phases now because they had to break it up. But
I mean, if they already went to a planning session and already knew, hey, this is gonna be the plan, let's go forward, why did it drop?
they didn't have the funding for it.
Or the advocacy, if your commissioner, and I'm not being ugly, but if your commissioner or your ECUA representative aren't continuing to put that in the project planning, then you're not gonna, and a plan is one thing, but a project plan, and Kevin, I'm sure will explain that, is totally different. It's an action plan that they use to base their budget off of.
Right.
And if you don't have action plans, you just have a plan like when the Friends got together and made a plan and handed it to the government, they said, that's not mine. Same thing. Same thing. Go ahead.
Well, and I'll just add this, and this is my personal opinion, I guess, but it's something I've worked on for a while. Because I've been involved in the oil spill recovery process from the explosion to now. I've helped write some of the legislation that we have in Florida. I can tell you there's a lot of money out there that we just don't take advantage of. Mm-hmm. And frankly, in this county, we think too small potatoes sometimes with these projects. We need to be thinking regionally. There's a pot of money out there in Restore. It's called Restore Pot 2. It's a 5-state competitive application process. There's about $460 million still sitting in a trust fund in New Orleans with this money. Louisiana does a fantastic job of sucking it up. We don't work well enough to get it over here. So what we ought to do, because this is the opportunity Escambia County has that a lot of other places don't have. We share a body of water with a county in another state. Mm-hmm. So I've talked to some of those folks. I've talked to state legislators in Baldwin County and Mobile. I've talked to county officials over there. You all know what their number one and number 2 issues are when it comes to water quality. Stormwater drainage and septic tanks. Mm-hmm. Same thing we have over here. Yet we don't even go across the river to talk to our neighbors that have the same problem that we could be working together with. So I say all that to say if we focus on a regional type program that affects the greater Perdido Bay estuary system, let's start looking at projects that affect water quality in our 2 counties that would affect that. And that's where we can start leveraging more money, where we can have infrastructure dollars, we can have state dollars, and we can have these Restore dollars. We can get more done that way. We got to think bigger. We can't just ask for table scraps and expect to get it anytime soon. But that money's not going to be here forever. That money's already been sitting over there for years, and we've already kicked the can down the road long enough on it. It's going to be gone at some point, and this bill's still going to have to be paid at some point. So my thing is we need to get on this sooner than later and take care of it.
And I think you have the right partnership in place with the state agencies.
Speak in the mic.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
I think you have the right partnership in place with the state agencies to continue that momentum. There are a lot of conversations that we've had, the senator's office and myself, even when Kevin was there, when he wasn't there, about all the money that we're not asking for. In wastewater management, in septic to sewer conversion. DEP was like, what are you talking about Wedgwood for? That should have been done years ago. I mean, there's money there. What are we waiting on? I mean, everybody, all the agencies in the state are willing to work, but the county has to bring the plan. I introduced...
And I'm sorry, let me just say one more thing. Just like Representative Salzman was talking about earlier, shovel ready. There was an oil spill grant through National Wildlife Foundation that was awarded back in the fall. I think about $10 million, something like that. It went to Apalachicola. You know why? They were the only county that had a shovel-ready project for it. It skipped the other 7 counties that were in the 8-county coalition for the oil spill, which, let's be honest, Escambia County is the epicenter of the oil spill for the state of Florida. Skipped us for the reason that Michelle mentioned earlier, because we did not have a shovel-ready project. So.
Right, and I was introducing your future mayor of the city about a month ago, and they asked me to explain why it's important for the North End to even care about who the mayor is going to be, and I gave them many examples of how we would not have gotten money if it wasn't for the mayor endorsing it. So bringing it home to you guys, when I file legislation in the House, when I say I have a project, I want $2 million for Century. Thank you for getting that. And I mean, it was him that got it, because the senator told me no at first. Anyway, when you ask for money like $2 million for Century, the first thing they ask is, does the county support this project? Does the municipality support this project? Is it a priority of your people? I can't go there with this really cool idea that nobody has supported and get the money. So because the county isn't putting these projects forward, I can't put a project forward and actually get it funded. Does that make sense? So you have the partnership in place. I think you have the great resources in place. Guys, I don't know any other meeting that I've been to in months that has these people standing here talking to you. You have every resource. Yes, that's not me. You have every resource in the room to get something done. You have a commission. You have the flood, the guru and the man understands wastewater man. Thank you for being so adamant in the community. And then you have a state rep telling you all levels of government are here, all pieces. You've got the component of the advocacy for the people that's informed. You've got the county and you have the state. We're all here listening, and we understand you have a problem, and we all want to help you. So no matter what happens from this day forward, it's going to be progress. I can assure you. I don't do anything for the sake of doing it. I can promise you that. I didn't just show up and talk to you. We will be following up with conversations. We will make sure meetings are happening. If it takes a year to get them across, because sometimes it's hard to get some of these people in the room, but we just keep at them, do we not, Debbie? We keep at them. We call them all the time. When you meeting, when you meeting, when you meeting. And we will do that. So you're in good shape right now because you've got all the right people here listening. So I don't want you to not have hope. I think that what you should leave with today is the understanding that we're willing to help you. I'm going to give the phone back to him and let her ask a question.
Okay, I have a question. How do we get you 3 to sit down with a group of us to set out a plan and go to the meeting to
That's easy.
get this started?
Yes, it is.
That's real easy.
We just set up a time and place.
Yeah, it's real easy. Kevin came out to Dee Radelsky's house, and of course we still ain't got that project funded yet, but the county is working on it. Got a lot of other projects funded.
Speedy government.
Yeah, speedy government. Greater Rolling Hills, they just got a project funded. Surrey just got a project funded. By the way, that project was a project Flood Defenders was pushing. We signed the whole neighborhood up. The residents got together. They showed up for board meetings. They said, we want a project. I came up with a concept and gave it to the board.
Should we go door to door to the people who owns, or to the people who rents, or to everybody?
I'll tell you how it works from a Flood Defenders perspective.
I'll guarantee you.
It's about we the people. It's about we the people. I can't do it for you.
Nope, but
I can guide you.
Yeah.
You basically go around to all your neighbors. I'll give you a whole bunch of signs. Say I'm a flood defender. You sign up with Flood Defenders. We have a flooddefenders.org page. We also have a Facebook page called Flood Defenders Panhandle. I post all the board meetings that I'm planning on attending. If there's issues that you want to have a meeting with, this is an ECUA and a county issue. ECUA already wants to put sanitary sewer out here. They're just like the county. It's all about funding and priorities for funding.
Well,
Priorities.
From the outer limits of Pensacola to Perdido, this little area here is the one that gets forgotten. I've lived here since I was 8 years old. I moved here when I was 8 years old. I am going to be 65 in June. Nothing has ever been done. Our house was moved there. We had to put sand up under to keep it from having a river up under every time. it still floods. We still get a river through up under my house, which does what? Cause mildew and cause a whole bunch of problems. And something's got to be done. How all the years I've.
You preach it to the choir, Shirley. You preach it to the choir. I've been begging for money for 25 years working for the county for projects to help people.
Yes, ma'am.
Still doing it.
Thank you.
Our flooding is a little different because we live a little bit further down off of Gulf Beach and Weller. Ours is, and we've never been blessed to meet you, but when we had our plan, we followed it for 2 years. Our house is the only house that floods, and
Okay.
it was to do with the builder, and the ground hadn't even been broken yet. We had our plan, we videoed it, we wrote it, and we didn't make them angry, but we went to them. Do you know Rosa?
I know
And
Rosa.
Blanchard, and I don't know the third guy, they brought him in because we kept having these calls, four-way calls. We were still flooding. We're the only house that floods because Schooner Landing opens to our house.
Okay.
So before they built, they brought in dirt, which flooded our house, the water. They made them bring it down, and as soon as they left, they brought in more dirt. Well, now the houses are built, but we're waiting for the first storm.
So you're off of Weller,
Right
not
off
in the
of
Beach
Weller.
Haven area?
Yeah, I know, we're off of Weller and Gulf Beach where, we're still.
Oh, this side of Weller, not that side. Okay.
Yeah, and what happened.
I know
was-
exactly where you're at.
See, we met.
that's
with the
why you
right
need him
people.
here, 'cause I
We
don't
had
know
a plan. We had a really good plan. So Rosa called us in with Kevin Blanchard. He was at our house at least once a week. Underhill showed up, and he was in flip-flops and shorts because it wasn't even a real rain, but we were flooding. So our house from the back all the way to the front, we watch our shed float because it comes from their entrance. Now the houses are there. So now the builder keeps getting away with this. So we're waiting for the next storm because they're filling their pockets, they have the sockets and all the drainage. So the big guy down south told the builder that they give him so many days to pull the stuff out of the drainage. So yeah, so the builders are still covering their drainage. So instead of the water going into the sewers, they're still coming into our house in our backyard. So the builder's getting away with it, and it's Schooner Landing. They're starting out at $300,000, but we had a plan, we went to see Rosa, we had the 4 people, and we're now gonna flood even more. So
You go back to the county and you keep going.
just keep on.
Dee Radelsky, Kevin's been to her house. She's been to 10 board meetings.
UA's been out there.
Yeah, she's been to 10 board meetings in front of the Board of County Commissioners and 3 town halls. One of them Alex was at. So
We're over here figuring out who to bring to a meeting, so don't think we're being rude. We're working on your problem. We're actually working on your
Brilliant
problem.
minds think, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, that's how you network and
Yeah.
brainstorm, but
Yeah.
it's just, we're waiting for the next storm.
Yeah, no, we'll get a meeting maybe before the next storm. We don't really need to wait for
Thank
one.
you.
What, another question? Anybody have any other?
Microphone up. I got one.
But let's let him ask a question.
Okay, we live on the other side of Fairfield on Calhoun Street.
That might be
3 blocks east of us, they have sewer. They stopped at, I forget what street it is over there.
Decatur.
Is it Decatur?
they got a phase fixing to go under construction that's going to pick up Calhoun. It's called Beach Haven Northeast Phase 2.
Phase 2. When is that gonna, I mean, we've been hearing about
Well,
phase 2 for 2 years.
I don't work for the county anymore, but I will tell you that it's been bid. I think they're real close to awarding the construction cost. You can go to www.myscammy.com and type in projects, and it'll come up, and it does it by map, or you can do it by list, and you can even sort by district. Beach Haven Northeast is on there. So
I also recommend you go to the Flood Defenders Facebook page and join that group, and y'all can go in there and start making these comments in there and getting feedback from others, not just him. And you'll find that you'll start learning how to access these resources through networking with other like-minded individuals in that group. So
Yeah.
I will still take your questions, but I don't want you to miss the opportunity to actually, that's not a plug for, he doesn't get a prize for getting more followers or whatever. It's really an opportunity for you guys to come together and communicate these issues that are unique to your roads and your little individual communities and residences, so you can come up with a large plan.
oh, by the way, the commissioners read Flood Defenders. A couple of them are actually joined flood defenders. Alex joined flood defenders. Bender is a flood defender. So they see what, and I tag them. I tag them all the time. When it's something like, hey, I tagged Bagosh on one, and Bagosh called me today.
Yeah.
Bagosh said, he said up at the board podium, he says, flooding is the #1 problem in Escambia County. Well, I called him out on it. I mean, if it's the #1 problem, then why isn't it the #1 priority? You know, and that's kind of a plug at him, but it makes him think, you know, yeah, maybe we should be putting more money into drainage. So, and sometimes I take a little pot shots at commissioners on Facebook. I mean, that's kind of part of it, but
It's not healthy, don't do it.
but I try to do it in a respectful way. You know, I'm not trying to beat these guys up. I'm just, hey, we need some help. You know, and that's what it's all about.
We want to make sure everybody has a chance to talk. Does anybody have, yes, ma'am?
I have a question over kind of behind Warrington Bank and Greer's on Barrancas. There is a school, Redeemer Lutheran School, that has a spring on it called Bishy Spring, and it just flows forever. And I happen to know an engineer from the 50s who took some water to NAS Pensacola, and he ran some tests on it. It's got substantial, at least then, by those criteria and equipment, it had quite a bit of heavy metals in it. Kept getting ignored. That goes right into Bayou Davenport. So the county came out in 2006 and said that we're going to go down and cap it, supposedly according to some of the hierarchy at the church, because they were tired of it bubbling up there too. They were going to cap it no matter if they had to go down 200 feet, 300 feet, whatever. They went down 17 feet reportedly, hit an obstruction, said, never mind, we're just going to put this pipe down there so it should route it farther down. So where would I find the official writings, history, what they really did? Because everything I'm getting is hearsay. There may not be any truth to it at all.
Public records request.
Here you go, Kevin's got some.
As far as where you would find that information, Chris, exactly right. I will say I was actually out there last week and walked down Palmetto and some others and took a look at that. I've actually talked to some folks at the state about it as well, and I'm going to see if we can try to get some state help to figure out what to do about that issue.
I like that, I'll do that.
So that's on myescambia.com and then go to public records there, or is it another, I can get it.
It's actually called FOIA, FOIA.
So what we're going to do next step for you guys is we're going to get a meeting with a few of us together, including your ECUA, one of your, Vicki Campbell. We're going to get Vicki to come in. She's not your ECUA rep, but she is like the face for ECUA for flooding and wastewater management. And so we were back here chatting. Sorry if it looked rude, just trying to make sure, because I'm 30 million miles an hour. I got to get it done when I'm in the room. So we have a plan in place to get that follow-up meeting. We just need a couple of you guys to be the point people to have the original conversation. It doesn't have to be all-inclusive. What one person says isn't going to be everything that they hear or know forever. It's just going to start that dialogue, and we're going to learn how we can get that plan, that actual project plan that will get you funding. So that's what we're going to do next step. For you guys, I'll probably have Kevin come because this would be his, I'm telling you, I can't say it enough. I guarantee if you called anybody in my community, they'll tell you that he has been a big catalyst in a lot of things that I get done. I don't take credit for anything that I do. I've got a team of folks that get it done. Debbie got me here tonight. I didn't even know where I was going. I just did what she told me. You know, I know we love her.
Let me tell you something, though. If you go to Tallahassee, there are Michelle Salzman-shaped holes in walls because she does not take no for an answer.
That's true.
And she will do whatever it takes. So
yeah.
Don't listen to her. It's her.
But are there any other community concerns while I'm here, that while you have so many people listening? I mean, I'm happy. I've got a pen. I can take notes. I can get you answers later. Yes, sir.
We've had 3 deaths up here on Joe P. Chawway.
I don't do that.
That's no problem.
And, go Ranger.
DOT, I know for a fact we had called Carter and asked him about doing a survey there to figure out what the problem. Do you know anything about any of that before I?
From Weller to, actually where Rocky's Bar is, to our church at Pleasant Grove, 3 fatalities, and one was
Yeah.
a car package.
No, and I do. I'm very aware of that. I only because I know the families of the people that died, and they reached out to me requesting, because I do safe roadways. That's my gig, guys. I want safe walkways. I want walkability. Remember, safety, infrastructure, education. That's my thing. So I know I called Carter. Carter is DOT. I know I called him and asked him, because that's a state road, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, see, okay, I am on the right place. So we're working on that. But
There are ways to get that prioritized. and that's
speed
what we
of
can
government.
do.
Yes, and we can do that.
I talked to him, and he said to me, well, you're gonna have to have paperwork and prove, have the dates and the whatever fatalities, because no one's gonna even think about it until you come back to me with this information. So I gave
Who was it that needed that?
Yeah, that can't be. That can't be. Carter works for the secretary. But I got you. If you could give me your name and phone number, you and I we will figure out what happened, because I did submit a request already. I'm very familiar, and I haven't followed up. But I'm going to tell you, DOT, I know we can make jokes about speed of government, but they are the most incredible partners. I filed to run because 9 Mile Road was a nightmare, and Highway 29 was a nightmare. And I said, I am so sick. Matter of fact, I was driving down 9 Mile Road, late to a doctor's appointment with my son. I'm on the phone with D.C. Reeves, good friend, going to be your mayor. And I said, D.C., I'm so sick of this dang road. And I said another word, but I'm saying dang. And he said, Michelle, that's your favorite state representative. I said, that's it, I'm running. He said, you should run. And I met with the secretary, and I said, I just want you to know that I told everybody in my community we'd fix 9 Mile Road and Highway 29. Can we do that sometime soon? And he said, you got it. 6 months. I was in office for 6 months, and both roads were finished. Unbelievable. Incredible. When you have good partnerships and you have good fighters on your team and you're working and running in the same direction, you get stuff done. And we have an incredible DOT secretary and team. They care, and they will respond. So I'm just sharing that message with you because I want you to know that they do. Well, I don't know who you talked to, and I'm so incredibly sorry that experience ended with no action, but I will find out what's going on. I promise you that.
Department of Transportation something, because
It's okay.
They sent me to him, this person.
Okay.
I thought it was Carter.
It's okay.
And I couldn't prove that there was the.
It's not the same when a citizen calls and a state rep calls. 2 different conversations. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. And we'll get back there. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any kind of influence with FEMA and funding?
That's a very interesting question. What can you give me some more?
So, in 2014, my house flooded, and I was active duty at the time.
Mhm.
I was stationed in San Diego. So, unfortunately, they make you go, right? So, basically, what happened was I applied for FEMA funding,
Mhm.
and I got turned down because my house was a rental property. So
Yeah.
then I had to kick my renters out, which still meant I didn't get FEMA funding,
Mhm.
but I also had all the flooding damage to take care of.
Yes, ma'am.
And living in one of the most expensive counties in the country.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was just wondering, now it's not an issue for me anymore, I'm no longer active duty, but that will be.
First of all, what branch did you said Navy?
Navy.
Okay, go Army, beat Navy. Love you, but I'm just saying. Thank you for your service. So FEMA's federal. We have partnerships at the state, but FEMA is federal. That's an issue that we would never be able to really fix. We can advocate, and then a bunch of us from all of the states in America can advocate, and eventually it would change. So I'm not going to tell you, like I told her, where I know I can help, but I can tell you this. The problem with FEMA funding and the loops that we still have buildings on NAS that have not been repaired because we're waiting on FEMA. So, I mean big projects, buildings where we have students in makeshift areas because we can't use, it's sick. So we are fighting hard against that. It's a lot of bureaucracy, but I can also give you this nugget. If any of you have issues with FEMA and your request, unlike that one, because that's a policy issue, but if you're not getting a response quick enough, if you have problems with your claim, you can call my office, and we have Matt Gates is very responsive. Senator Scott is very responsive. Senator Rubio. We can get anybody on the bat phone. We have the cool bat phone. It's like on TV. So we can help you. In that case, I can't. like I said, but I don't want to give you guys no hope at all, because if it's a typical FEMA issue where they're just dragging their feet and making up lies or whatever, okay, I didn't just say the government lied, but yes, I did, then we can help you, okay? But it would be a big process. But thank you for asking that question, because we all feel that pain, girlfriend. I feel it.
I mean, it doesn't apply to me anymore.
No, but it's a valid problem.
That way, yeah.
Yes, I completely agree. And you in the back of the white shirt? Yes, sir.
So far in the discussion, I kind of mixed stormwater and, excuse me, sanitary sewer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand that ECUA, state organization, focused on sanitary sewer.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do stormwater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The
County roads are done by county
Mm-hmm.
DOT for stormwater.
Mm-hmm.
State roads are done by state DOT, that's in your swim lane,
Mm-hmm.
for stormwater. And when you do either one, you have to dig up a road.
Yes.
What you do is you partner. ECUA and the county partners on project. They partnered on the Beach Haven project. What's really appealing, one of the grants going through DEP, we're doing wastewater and stormwater. We're going to
All
tear
at the
that
same
road
time.
up one time.
And we weren't up until recent history. Up until a couple of years ago, ECUA would go dig up a road, put in a daggum pipe, and then 2 years later, the county or the state or somebody would come in and redo and widen the road or whatever. We have since stopped doing that through partnerships. We actually meet regularly. We, as in ECUA, the state, and the county, and we are collaborating our plans together. Now, we haven't done everybody yet, but that is how we have decided to move forward, which is why you see the conversations of Wedgwood come to my desk. I don't run, a community. There's no state roads in that, but we all work together with state agencies.
So getting to the point,
Uh-huh.
thank you, but getting to the point there is now you have to coordinate funding, okay? You
Yes.
do the engineering, you do the D&D, you gotta coordinate the plans, but now you've gotta coordinate funding,
Mhm.
potentially multiple sources. So, what are your thoughts on challenges to do that between ECUA that is funded by your sewer bill supposedly, but can go for grants, and the DOT that's funded out of the budget, either county or state? So, I mean, coordinating those efforts seems to be a bottleneck in a lot of cases.
Do you want to answer that, Kevin? I'm only asking because you've done a lot of these things. Do you want to speak to it? I mean, I can, but
I can tell you.
yeah. Well, let's.
ahead.
Well, I'll let you. I can take it from a 10,000 foot, and I'm sure you.
Well,
can
I can
get
tell
in the
you from a
weeds, but-
local level, ECUA and the county tries to partner, and one reason they partner together to do joint projects is because there's a shared funding. If ECUA goes out there and tears that road up, and then the county goes out there and tears it up, it costs twice as much money to tear up the same road. And that partnership is really tight, a lot more than it has been 25 years ago when I went to work for the county. But it takes partnership, and it also makes it more appealing when you apply for a grant to go, hey, we're doing wastewater and stormwater. Now, DOT, they try to stick to their state road system. If they're going to do a state road, then they coordinate with the county, with the utility companies. Like, look, we're going to do this project. Do you want to get on board with it? That's how DOT does it.
Kind of. Do you want to elaborate on
Yeah.
the planning process?
Well, I think it's a great question, and it's especially with all the different pots of monies that we're talking about, who basically quarterbacks this thing with all these different balls in the air.
One agency.
Yeah, well, and
gotta take it like
how do you do that? I guess the first thing is you have to build a coalition where you've got one person or one agency, one department able to dole out where the money's supposed to go. I'm not absolutely sure how you do that yet, frankly, because we're talking about things like restore dollars and federal infrastructure dollars, state dollars. I think it's a great question to figure out, though, and I think we will.
So I can't believe you didn't give the example. In Century, when we did the money in Century for water meter, it was for the water meters for their water management system. The state had said specifically, we will not fund a project. I think that was my senator. We will not fund a project that where Century gets the money. It has to be a collaborative effort, matching dollars, and they can't manage it. So I can't believe you didn't discuss this, but Kevin says the senator isn't going to do this. You need to call your county commission and get them to be the manager of the project, because the county commission typically manages big projects when they come through, even if it's millions of dollars that aren't funneled through their tax income. They bring it to them, and they have a management all their little staff people that manage the money, and their project managers that do that are managing money. Most of it's not theirs. In the form of Century, we got state dollars through appropriations and through grants monies, and that money was required by the plan to be managed by the county commission, who didn't give a penny to it. But they are the holding agency in most of the cases. They are the ones that manage it, and they have project managers in their building that do projects like this on a regular basis, to include the partnership dollars with ECUA. If the project is mainly stormwater management or mainly septic to sewer, then typically ECUA will manage that process. They also have project managers that they have on staff to do this very same thing. So I think the answer is it depends on where the heavy weight is, as well as the players in the field, because sometimes the players in the field may not be competent enough to handle such dollars. So we have to partner with other agencies. But we've been successful over the past couple of years. My flyer over there talks about the millions and millions of dollars that I brought back to the community, and I didn't do it. My team did it. But the point is, those dollars are being managed by the county commission, and it's not really the money that they brought in the first place, but they're the stewards of it. And we did that also. ECUA is the stewards of some. The Century is now the stewards of their community centers. Lord help us. But I hope that answers in some way. Kevin gave an honest answer of, well, we're still trying to work through it, and I'm an optimist. I'm like, we've done it for a couple of years. It looks like it's working great, so I don't think we're going to have any issue. But that's a question. He's right. It is a great question, one that we need to always ask ourselves, well, how is this really going to work? Especially in your community with, as you said, you've got this type of problem and this type of problem and this type of problem. But like what we've done in Wedgwood and other communities, Brownsville is actually a really good example. They created phases that match the plans, and certain phases are funded by certain agencies. So phase 1 might be funded through ECUA's dollars. Phase 2 might be funded through some sort of grant that he can throw a name out or something. Phase 3 might be local county commission dollars to do the sidewalks, because ultimately after you do all that, you should make it walkable. So depending on the project, I think would be the answer, but it's certainly a question we'll be asking continuously as we learn how to navigate this collaborative government model that we should have been doing for centuries, right? Any other questions?
For example, like
Go ahead, sorry.
what you were saying, Navy Point, that was a ECUA sewer project. It's 4 phases. Navy Point, they got a 4th phase that they hadn't done yet. The county tagged on with Navy Point to do some drainage in that area. We had a little bit of money to go toward that project. On Beach Haven Northeast, it's right over here on the other side of Fairfield, the county took the lead on that. And there, like I said, there's 5 different funding sources: local option sales tax, restore, there's DEP 319 grants, CRA put in money because there's a CRA district, and ECUA put in money on those projects. So it's all about communicating, unifying with your partners. And your partners are your
the right
government.
partners, the right partners.
The right partners.
You got to get the right people. Like I was saying, we need to get Vicki Campbell, and that wasn't that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, Vicki.
Not Lois Benson. Lois is great. She's great. She's your ECUA rep. But Vicki is like the spearhead person for what you're trying to get done. She would be, if they were on the ECUA board having a meeting, they would all look at Vicki and say, Vicki, what do you think? So why not have Vicki in the room? Thank you for coming. Have a good night. Absolutely. Any other questions? Because it is after 8. I want to be respectful of your time, and I still have to read my baby a bedtime story. Any? Yes, we love our families. Any other questions?
I just wanted to say that some of y'all may not know, but Representative Salzman, she is always out in the community doing stuff, fundraisers for, if it's a peanut butter drive for the community.
Or our little tiny Christmas tree that we did.
Yeah, so we had a mitten tree for our Girl Scout troop, and she helped promote that, her and Debbie and their group, and she's just wonderful. And our little Girl Scout troop invited her to her Christmas party, and she took the time out of her busy life to make time to come for our little Girl Scouts here, and it meant the world to a lot of them.
Aww.
So She's definitely someone to look up to, and if she says she's gonna get it done like you saw, she started tonight.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I love those Girl Scouts. I do. I love y'all. Any other questions? Listen, my cards are in the back. I will get you just 1 second. My cards are in the back. I've got little, oh my Lord, the brag on, this is what I got done. I mean, if you want to see the junk I did, you're welcome to pick up a thing and see. I didn't do any of it. My team did it, but yes. Oh, thank you.
And while you're at it, you can like Kevin Brown for County Commissioner on Facebook.
I mean, I'm not going to openly endorse him, but I do openly endorse him. No, but my cards are in the back. I'm not your state representative, and I'll tell you that your representative has a true passion for wastewater management, septic to sewer, all of those things. He's a great partner with ECUA. He's a great partner at the state. The man is a ninja at getting bills passed. So I would not discount his incredible leadership, and I certainly will make sure he's looped in whenever he needs to be in anything. But I want to make sure y'all know that you have a great state representative. You don't have to worry about that. I just happen to be invited because I know a couple of you, and I'm here, and I've done a lot of these projects in communities that have been forgotten, and I'm always willing to come and speak. I don't care who it is. As you can tell, I love Girl Scouts too. But get my card if I can help you. No problem is too small. No problem is too big. The worst thing that can happen is I learn that we have a problem, and now I know how to be a better advocate for you, because my only objective in Tallahassee is to do the will of our community, because the Panhandle is almost always forgotten unless we're screaming really loud. So I went there to scream, as he made a joke about punching through walls, and I will knock anybody down for my community, and they do know that. But they love me for that, and they do love the Panhandle very much. So yes, ma'am, you had a question?
Last year we had Lois Benson here.
I love her.
Talking
Mhm.
about everything that's going on. Like he said, we live on Calhoun. And I had emailed her at that time about the projects that are going on east of us.
Yes, ma'am.
Of Calhoun Street. She emailed me back, no question, in her own words, that we were going to have the project started in March of this year. I have it in writing with her signature. Whether she or one of her office people did it, I don't care.
Yes, ma'am.
I just know it came from her as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, well, what I can say,
Has started.
what I can say is that's information we need for the meeting. That is information, because now when we talk to Vicki, we can say Lois was contacted. We're still waiting on something, because it might be that they're about to start something and we don't even know the answer, which is why it's important to have Vicki at the table, who is like the guru in this. So your ECUA rep will be, or a ECUA rep at the table is invaluable in the conversation to collaborate. I appreciate you telling me. And we will look. We're already going to look into it.
For something, because we have terrible flooding issues.
Okay.
Over there.
Well, and I'm truly sorry for what you're going through as a community. I flood too, and I'm a state rep. I'm just going to tell you, I have to replace my sod like every 3 years, because it literally washes away. It just washes away. And they've come out and rebuilt that ditch so many daggum times, and it's so frustrating. So I understand. I'm really sorry, and we will work as fast as we can to get some resolution, some resolve for each of you. And as the man said in the white shirt in the back, I mean, these are all different types of scenarios, but that's why you have to have phased plans and all these partners at the table. So I really hope that we can bring you some good solutions soon.
She know that.
It could be in a project plan. It could be in her plan. She could have been promised by somebody on the board, hey, I'll give you this if you give me that. Okay, I'll take it. And then March comes and some catastrophe happened. Right. So I can't speak to the process that I'm not a part of, but I know that Lois Benson is an incredible lady, and I know that Vicki Campbell is an incredible lady, and I know that they care about the community. So we will figure out what did happen. I can promise you we'll find out what happened. Oh, he's got an answer right now.
What happened is the county bid that project. There was only one bid for it. There were some questions about awarding such a big, huge contract to one contractor. So they rebid the project. It probably would have been in March if they didn't have to rebid it. Based on the county's website, construction notice to proceed is anticipated in July 2022.
So it was put off because of contracting bidding issues. There, see there, how fast that was. Isn't it good having him here? See, y'all look at me and think, look at all the stuff she did. I didn't do nothing. I would have called him later and he'd have been like, Michelle, the answer was right there. So I appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy days, your busy schedules to listen to a politician talk at you. I hope that you feel a little bit better about what's going on, and I certainly hope that we can get you some quick response and some good action plans. You've got a team of folks that really do care in this community. They just have to understand what to care about, and we can make them understand. I'm good at that. Any other questions? Anything at all? Okay, I did steal a white chocolate macadamia nut cookie, and I'm going to eat that on the way home. I appreciate you. I'm going to give the mic to the boss here. And I'll be around for a few minutes as well.